There's one thing I can almost always count on. The audiences have already been taught to see innovation and entrepreneurship as one and the same, and so as they try to apply their skill sets to the subject matter, the same contradictions, paradoxes, and even sense of frustration seem to kick in, no matter their backgrounds. I attribute this to two fundamental things. The first is an overabundance of so-called recipes for creating a startup or having an innovation. Students come to class hoping I'll give them a subroutine that they'll merely have to execute as if they were computers. Many have been led to identify any experience with or instruction in preparing to pitch a business concept, to others with actual preparation for conceiving a solid idea for innovation or executing on a business concept. The second is a general lack of acknowledgement that the very same language that can be so powerful for articulating a business, developing a business strategy, and executing that strategy can just as easily mislead the aspiring innovator, especially if applied too soon to what generally amounts to a hunch. After years of witnessing students making those mistakes, I have come to understand that this situation flows from a conflation of entrepreneurship and innovation, especially in academia. That conflation has led to the creation of a bunch of truisms that focus on managing innovations and organizations, which may be quite useful at some point, but have little or nothing to do with actually innovating. Put simply, we talk a lot about how innovations happen and are managed, but rarely discuss how you actually produce one, a huge multidisciplinary space that's rarely explored. The tasks may require you to venture a bit into the impossible. Being empirical and experimental in that space, something that may seem out of fashion but is sorely missing, is the subject of this audiobook. The field of entrepreneurship and innovation as we know it is full of amazing stories, inspiring trajectories, and powerful figures, ones we know of only in hindsight. The field is also ripe with opportunities to enter contests and win awards. These idea events are a lot like beauty pageants. The pitches are the talent competition. They sometimes even propel forward aspiring entrepreneurs who have a solid, powerful idea. The key, though, is how solid and powerful their idea was before they entered the event. The pitch itself is show and tell. Beauty pageants end with the crowning of a winner. Crowned or not, you still need to figure out what you're going to do next. As people prepare for these events centered on entrepreneurial beauty, they feel the urge to copy beautiful-looking, successful entrepreneurs. One can only wonder how many black turtlenecks, jeans, and wireless headset microphones are sold in advance of these events, or how many prospective presenters practice the line, "And we launch today," in front of mirrors. But far more often than not, what we think we know about already successful entrepreneurs includes very little about how they developed their ideas, how they assembled and managed their organizations, or the struggles they went through to evolve their ideas toward impact at scale. After all, identifying yourself as the quote-unquote founder of a business is as easy as paying a state's incorporation fee. In class, I have learned to help students recognize these contradictions and paradoxes by taking this archetypal conception of entrepreneurship and innovation to its comical extreme. I suggest they incorporate and then post their new status as founders on the social network of their choice. Sometimes I knight students, imaginary sword and all, as recognized entrepreneurs. I give others official permission to innovate. I encourage them to find a suitable entrepreneurial beauty pageant to enter. I congratulate them on their success, and then I advise it might be a good time to figure out what their new companies actually do. There's nothing inherently wrong with the entrepreneurship theory from which my students have developed their paradoxes and contradictions. It's just that the theory is all about managing an organization that has already settled on its target audience or target audiences. An aspiring entrepreneur or innovator lives at n equals 1. The merits of her or his innovation or organization will be measured relative to adoption, not by comparison with other innovators or entrepreneurs. The one problem that gives her or him purpose has to be solved with the resources at hand and at scale. It all needs to work. It doesn't really matter whether the way the problem is ultimately solved falls at the center of some graphical distribution of entrepreneurial performance or at the graph's tail end.